if Arch Manning plays anywhere close to what Quinn Ewers did last year, Texas is going to at least make the semifinals. And I know they lost 14 guys to the NFL draft, but they don't have to rebuild. They just reload. And you look at the talent that's on this roster, especially defense, it's going to keep them in every single football game they play.
What is up, Booster Club? Thank you guys again for watching us or listening on here at Crain & Company. Again, without you, there is no us. Just absolutely overwhelmed by the amount of support we've gotten before football season. That's because you love it like we love it, and we all show up and get to talk about it. And hopefully you agree and disagree on some points. Now, guys, today, we've knocked out a lot of predictions already, but there's a big brand out there, and we talked about their rival yesterday with Oklahoma, that we have not done the regular season prediction. Again, this is a regular season 12-game prediction. We're going to get to who we think makes the playoff, wins conferences, wins the national championship, and the Heisman here as we barrel toward week 0. But today, boys, I'm joined by David Cohn. Almost said David Michigan, former Michigan quarterback. He really is David Michigan, if you hadn't figured that out. Then my brother, former Western State, Colorado wide receiver, Blaine Crain. What are you saying? What are you murmuring?
Something? Oh, nothing. I thought you said something.
You seem in a good mood today. I'm actually feeling good about it. All right, guys. We're doing Texas today. Hook 'em.
Hook 'em, boys. Hook 'em.
Came in the SEC last year. Absolutely blew it up in a good way. Get to the conference championship game. Lose it. Go to the national semifinal. Lose to Ohio State. But a solid year for Texas. And again, they came in year 1 and said, we belong here. We are here. Now watch what we do with it. But Texas, we know the standard, guys, is championship or bust, regardless if you love them, regardless if you hate them. That's one of the reasons why they fit in the Southeastern Conference. And it's an interesting time. And, David, I want to start with you.
Interesting time. It smells like 8-4 over there on that paper.
It's not.
You can just feel the hate for it.
Okay, I'm going to get this out of the way. All right. I'm going to feel the elephant in the room.
Hate,
Blaine is going to continuously say throughout this whole episode that I hate Arch Manning in Texas. I do not. I have no problem with Arch Manning or Texas. I picked Texas to do well last year, right? I picked Texas to beat Alabama a couple years ago with Quinn Ewers. Just stood on the pedestal and screamed at the villagers about it, and they did it. But just because I like you or I don't have a problem with you doesn't mean I'm going to sit here and just always say nice things about you. There are some other shows that can just go say nice things about everybody. And if I'm wrong, I'll be the first to admit it. But just because I'm not in some sort of love affair with Arch Manning yet, because I need to see him improve on the field, doesn't mean that I hate Arch Manning or think he's a bust. I think he's going to be great. I think there's a good chance he wins a natty at Texas, but just not this season. So, David, now that I've gotten that out of the way.
That's a long way to say you hate Arch Manning, but go ahead.
I'm just got to make it through it.
Look, Texas, number 1 ranking almost unanimously across the board here as we sit in August in preseason. And it may be true that Texas is a bit overrated, but it could be true that they're overrated and still the best team in the country. Now, Texas isn't going to have the best football team in the country just because their quarterback's last name happens to be Manning. They may have the best team in the country, though, because of all the great players that they're replacing those guys with who went to the NFL. I know we're going to talk about the defensive side of the ball. We put out a top 25 player list in the SEC. It's littered with Texas
Started
players.
with Anthony Hill Jr.
Anthony Hill Jr., Colin Simmons. But look at the offensive line. Experienced guys, right? Upperclassmen who are going to be blocking the way for 2 running backs who could each go for 1,000 yards this year. And Ryan Wingo is one of the most electrifying players at wide receiver in the country. That may be the reason they're the best football team in the country.
And it's funny because I was literally going to ask you, when you look and again, going into this intriguing narrative this season of big brands with really good rosters around a new starting quarterback, you can make a very good argument that if Arch Manning plays well, the roster around him is so good that Texas is the number 1 team in the country. I just have to see it, and you go on the road to Ohio State week 1 that we're going to get into. But
not only that, but of all the teams that fit into the category, and we've talked about them for the last 8 weeks here, Texas is in a pretty good position with Arch Manning. We're talking about other teams like Georgia, right, with Gunnar Stockton, or Ty Simpson at Alabama, or Julian Sand with the Buckeyes, and this is a week 1 matchup we get. Arch Manning has at least gotten a bigger sample size of playing time than all those other quarterbacks.
And that's why I think you are seeing the rankings where they were at, because sample size does matter and it's different for each quarterback. But Blaine, and you've really been harping, because I want to get to the offensive line, because yes, they have experienced guys. They lost some guys from last year, but we know how they've recruited. We know how they've developed. And to me, it's similar a little bit to Georgia when we're talking about the offensive line, because you're like, yeah, you got new guys. I mean, Georgia lost, 4 or 5 to the NFL last year, but they're replacing with guys that are really good. And some of these teams, Texas is not one of them. Texas ran the ball pretty well last year. Yeah. But a lot of these teams that had these supposed great offensive lines last year didn't run the ball great. Bama didn't run the ball great. Georgia didn't run the ball great. LSU didn't run the ball great with that supposed amazing offensive line. So you could actually see some of these guys that have bided their time or maybe just transferred in, the offensive line actually be better. But Blaine, the Texas defense, to me, the biggest shift in this program was Sarkisian. And it's funny because Sarkisian is an offensive guy. But just because you're an offensive guy doesn't mean you're soft or you're finesse. It's been on the line of scrimmage, and Texas just seems tougher. Texas just seems to have more tough asses than they've ever had. What did Tim Brando say? They went from Club Med to Judge Dredd. I thought that was a good line that Timmy B had. Texas is a physical team, and that's why they're going to be in these conversations. But that defense, with Taft coming back, too, to keep it all together in the secondary.
Look, there's some nasty
everywhere on this team.
And you remember that Texas team last year, as all the candy and all the pretty lights you saw on offense, the reason Texas got to where they were because of that damn defense. You walk into the SEC, how do you put the SEC on notice quickly? You dominate the line of scrimmage, and Texas did that on both sides of the ball. You still have Colin Simmons, Anthony Hill Jr. I mean, you lose Barron at corner, but you still have Muhammad, who's going to be an absolute dog. 2 experienced safeties, the depth you have at linebacker. Texas's roster, and I still believe this, if Arch Manning plays anywhere close to what Quinn Ewers did last year, Texas is going to at least make the semifinals in the college football playoff. I think that's the truth. The only thing I thought holding back Texas last year was Quinn Ewers. And I know they lost 14 guys to the NFL draft, but Texas is the team already, like the Alabamas, like the Georgias. All right, they don't have to rebuild. They just reload. And you look at the talent that's on this roster, especially defense, it's going to keep them in every single football game.
So you got 12-0 then?
Huh? Pretty damn close. Pretty damn close, Dave.
Well, David, you brought up a name that to me it's shocking. And Blaine, can you bring up Ryan Wingo's numbers from last year? We hear about all these talented young receivers that are coming back, right? You hear about like Ryan Williams at Alabama. You hear even Cam Coleman at Auburn. Ryan Wingo is as physically gifted and as talented as any receiver. This guy could be the first receiver taken eventually in the NFL draft. But it seems like maybe it's the Arch Manning hype has kind of overtaken everything. And then again, we talk about Anthony Hill Jr. could be the first defensive player off the board in the NFL draft, could be the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft next year. But Blaine, with Ryan Wingo's numbers last year, what exactly did he have?
Yeah, 29 receptions for about 500 yards, average 17 yards per reception. Yeah. And you got to remember, they had Matthew Golden,
for sure,
Gunnar Helm, and Isaiah.
Now he's the guy.
And he was taking some reverses to the. I remember he took.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, again, there used to be a time where those numbers for a freshman or a young player were pretty freaking good, especially in the SEC. Yeah. So, do you think it's just there's so many other players that have been hyped that kind of Ryan Wingo's been a little bit lost in the talk?
That's part of it, but also he hasn't been lost to me. I was excited.
No, you've been talking about Ryan Wingo
again.
For a long time.
I got to see him up close and personal last year in Ann Arbor. These guys absolutely torched Michigan in a game that I was at. So I think that he's a great piece. They also have the other wide receiver kid who transferred in from Stanford.
Oh,
Emmett Mosley.
Yeah, not Ayamanor, who's going to ball in the NFL. I literally was shocked he got drafted where he got drafted.
That kid's a beast.
And by the way, Stanford was another team when we were doing the John Gruden Could Coach College Football reaction. Stanford kind of makes sense a little bit.
No, he wants to go to the SEC. He's not going to Stanford.
I don't know, man. Andrew Luck out there.
It's not what it used to be.
No, John Gruden loves Andrew Luck. I think it just reminds me on.
He doesn't love him that much.
On Tropic Thunder. It just reminds me on Tropic Thunder. When he's talking about, he asked Ben Stiller about adopting, how's the adoption going? And he's like, well, it's going all right, whatever. I'm on the list. And Matthew McConaughey's like, at least you get to choose yours.
Yeah.
And he'll text him happy birthday, but
for sure.
I don't know. I think he loves him some Andrew Luck. All right, let's get into this schedule, boys. Texas, just regular season. And between this matchup and LSU Clemson, like, I know we got some other ones too, but like I don't know which one I'm more excited for. It's like getting two great presents at Christmas. Like, I just love them both so much. Texas is going on the road to the Horseshoe to play Ohio State in a mega matchup. Now, not a must-win for either. I mean, obviously Ohio State's at home. But guys, when I look at this game, and before I give my pick, Blaine, I want to start with you on this one, because I know what you're going with, because we've done Ohio State. But how are you feeling about this one, Arch, going on the road? Him and Julian Sain are both new quarterbacks. With the way Sark runs his offense, with all his pre-snap motions, and there's so much that goes on pre-snap, we've talked about this. How open is the book, and does Texas play it a little bit conservative and see if they can work in the interior of that Ohio State defensive line that some people will?
Well, a couple things. Right now, Texas, from a win total standpoint, 9.5.
Okay.
Going off at basically minus 200. And this game...
Minus 200?
Yeah. This game spread right now is Ohio State favored at minus 2.5 with the over-under at 47.5.
47.
I don't know why, but for some reason, I have all the world's confidence in Texas in this football game.
Really?
I think, one, I believe in Arch Manning more than I believe in Julian Sain right now. I think Steve Sarkisian, from a scheming standpoint, is going to have a pretty damn good day against Ohio State. And I think they're actually going to be able to move the ball between the tackles. Because right now, what's the big question when it comes to Ohio State? It's the interior, right? On the defensive line, I promise you, Texas will not have that problem. Like, both of these teams are going to be extremely good, and I wouldn't be surprised if they see each other again in the playoffs, or hell, even in the national championship. But I don't know why, but I have the most elite confidence. If Texas lose, I don't know. I'll dye my hair blonde. Shit. All
right, there you go. All right.
And I never really do this, but I will guarantee.
You're going to guarantee.
I will guarantee an Arch Manning Texas Longhorn win at Ohio State week 1. And if don't, whatever. I'll do whatever. Whatever y'all want me to do. Well, I'm not putting another dog collar on. I'll promise that right now.
But I'll do whatever.
That's basically torture. That's basically torture. But hell, I got all the confidence in the world. Look, Ohio State's going to be a great team, but I think Texas is better.
Yeah, I'm glad you're not wearing dog collars anymore and you quit that other job.
I know. CNN was tough.
All right, blonde hair. That's it. We got a Marshall Mathers situation.
Yeah. God,
Cone. Do you have elite confidence?
Oh, no. There won't be any guarantees for me. Actually,
there's no guarantee for me.
I went back and forth on this game for 8 weeks. Finally, I had to settle on one because we already did our Buckeyes preview. And perhaps it's just because I still have PTSD from playing in the Horseshoe, but I'm going with the Buckeyes. These guys are so difficult to beat up there in Columbus. I'll tell you one thing that makes it interesting, though, is them replacing both coordinators. You know, I know Brian Hartline on the offensive side of the ball was on staff, but still Chip Kelly solved a lot of problems from them a year ago. And then Jim Knowles, the defensive coordinator, heading out, not just anywhere, to Penn State. Yeah. That makes things really interesting when you start talking about Steve Sarkisian being able to scheme. I saw him go on the road and do it in Tuscaloosa a couple years ago. I saw him go on the road to Ann Arbor and do it a year ago. Maybe he can do this in Columbus, but another thing, the Buckeyes at any given time, we're talking about all these great players Texas has. Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs at any given time could be the two best players on the football field throughout the entire year. They're still going to reload as well. I got the home team right now.
So we did an off-season preview of this game of Texas-Ohio State. We're going to do heading into week 1, that weekend of that Saturday, we're going to do a in-season preview prediction and best bet on this game to give you a score and some bets to follow. We got some big announcements as far as betting and stuff like that coming up here soon. But this is as close to an NFL game as I think you're going to get in college football. Not just talking about the roster either. I mean, there's NFL players just running all over the field. But you literally have Steve Sarkisian, an NFL offensive mind, versus Matt Patricia, an NFL defensive mind. This is truly, and regardless of what you think about Matt Patricia in the NFL, the guy obviously knows ball. He knows scheme, stuff like that. The chess match of this game will be so high level that I'm wondering if somebody's going to get too cute with a new quarterback. Now, I know Matt Patricia's not coaching the offense. This isn't like the Patriots. But with Brian Hartline and Julian Sain, who not a lot of people are, as many people are talking about, obviously, as Arch Manning, and they shouldn't because we've seen more of Arch. I feel like with the pre-snap stuff that it's going to cause penalties for Texas early in drives. And this game is going to come down to 2 to 3 drives and 3 to 5 plays. I actually think Sark may get a little too cute here may ask a little too much of Arch on the road, and I don't think Ohio State won't. That's why I've got Ohio State winning this game in a very, very tight game. The line of scrimmage, to me, it always tells the tale. But if Ohio State's able to stop the run with the interior of their defensive line, as good as Wingo is, as we mentioned, as good as the Stanford transfer is, as good as Texas is around them, I think Ohio State is just as talented. And on the offensive side, I think Ohio State's more talented than what Texas is when you look at the pieces that they have. I've got Ohio State winning a hell of a game, starting off 1-0.
All right,
Texas starting off
there we go.
All right, so we were able to talk about that one for a while because the next 3 games, well, you got San Jose State.
Barn burner.
You got UTEP.
Barn burner.
You got Sam Houston.
Now, which one of those 3 will give Texas the best game, though? I assume we all have check marks.
Yeah, I'm going to say San Jose State will.
You think so?
They usually always have a couple guys.
They got a couple exciting whites, too. They're always running
They
around.
usually have a couple.
So as far as those 3, I'm going to guess that we have Texas winning those 3 games.
Now I'll get into guaranteeing.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what a bold take, Dave.
I will
Bold take.
guarantee they'll win those 3 games. All right, so I have Texas at 3-1. You have Texas at 4-0. You have Texas at 3-1. Then we head on down to the swamp, baby.
Following a bye week.
Following a bye week.
Yes.
Very true. Which is
Thank
big.
you, David.
Which is big. I know who you're picking then, Blaine. Boys, tailgating time, grilling time in the backyard, the best time of year. Football season is upon us, and you want your team's game to be quality, but you also want the meat that you're grilling or cooking to be quality, and that's where Good Ranchers comes in. Now, our barbecues and game day sliders, they're always made with quality meat. That's because Good Ranchers sources 100% American meat, with all the cuts coming directly from local farms and ranches. Now, choosing Good Ranchers means supporting both our community and American ranchers while enjoying their premium cuts that bring families and friends together around the table, which is what it's all about. Plus, with Good Ranchers doorstep delivery, I can worry about literally anything else rather than spending time at the grocery store or searching for something delicious to serve. I mean, heck, the other day we had some of those Wagyu burgers over at one of our kids' birthday parties, and they were incredible. They always deliver. Now, here's the deal. I need you to listen. You subscribe to any Good Ranchers box today. Ladies, I'm talking to you too. You can get your pick of free meat for life. Talking free Wagyu burgers, hot dogs, bacon, or chicken wings in every single box. And when you use our code BOOSTER, that's BOOSTER, when you go to goodranchers.com, you'll save an extra $40 off. So go ahead and hit them up. Head over to goodranchers.com. We still got time before the season. Use that code BOOSTER, BOOSTER, for $40 off, plus free meat for life. Goodranchers.com. Welcome to the table and to the fam. All right, got a bye week heading down to Gainesville. Got high hopes for Florida this year, boys. We got our Florida prediction coming out very, very soon as well. You're not going to want to miss that one. Will DJ Lagway be healthy? I don't know. Will I be healthy by this point in the year? Probably not. But you would think going down to Florida, a lot of momentum for the Gators, Texas coming in, Arch having already lost, at least according to me, on the road at Ohio State. A lot of people probably going to pick Florida here. But I think this is the game where Sark dials it up. I think this is a game where Texas actually goes in feeling a little bit like an underdog with a chip on their shoulder. I think that defense gets after Florida, who I got a lot of respect for Florida's offensive line. But I think Texas finds a way. I think this is a Sark game where you got those 2 to 3 plays where he motioned to formation and the boundary, found a way to get his matchup, hits a couple big plays. Give me Texas going on the road, beating the Gators in the swamp for another big win with Sark in the SEC.
This is an example of a really fun one with Texas being in the SEC, right? Like not a lot of old school hatred or not even one of these new school rivalries. But, you know, look at what Florida's coming off of. They're going to be on the road in Baton Rouge, on the road in Miami. Then they'll have a bye week to get ready to host Texas. Again, I think everyone in the world is excited to see how healthy is DJ Lagway going to be. How has he progressed throughout the offseason? Texas, too much in Gainesville in this one. Give him a check mark.
First real SEC test for Arch Manning. Look, I know you're going to Ohio State, but you're going down to
SEC test. You're right.
You're going down to the swamp. I feel like this is going to be a gritty game, low-scoring game. This is a game where I'm going to lean on Texas's defense right here. I think Florida comes to play. I think it's probably going to be a one-possession game, but I think Texas's defense makes a play late. Maybe DJ Lagway still forcing balls a little bit like the 9 interceptions he saw last year. Maybe Texas corner makes a play. Texas 27, Florida 20.
Okay, so at this point, I've got Texas at 4-1. Blaine's got him at 5-0. Cone, you got him at 4-1.
4-1, Red River.
And then the next.
Yeah.
Go watch our Oklahoma preview of this game, too. We dive pretty deep into this one. One of the greatest rivalries we have in the sport. Got a ton of respect for it, especially somebody who grew up in the Iron Bowl. I know what this game means to them. And Texas, like I said last year, embarrassed Oklahoma. Embarrassed them. I mean, both of y'all view each other as juggernauts. You both come in the SEC. One of y'all is DeBella DeBall. And the other one, Prison Mike.
Prison Mike.
So I've talked about the embarrassment. The embarrassment that will fuel Oklahoma this year. That's why I got them going, what I got them going. And I don't care. Let the haters say what they're going to say. Oklahoma wins the shootout. Yeah, it's called the shootout, not the Red River Rivalry. Grow up. It's
not the Red River Rivalry, guys.
Nobody ever thought, I'm going to go commit a shooting massacre because of the name of this game.
Oh, boy. I'll tell you what, I wasn't ready for the Prison Mike reference in the Texas preview. But well done. I really like this Oklahoma team. I really do. But I'll tell the Texas fans the same thing as I told the Oklahoma fans. I think Texas is a bit overrated preseason. Oklahoma's a bit underrated. But I don't want to make the mistake of thinking, well, Texas is some average football team and Oklahoma's excellent just yet. I got Texas winning Red River as we sit here right now. Wow. Again, the week leading up to that game, let's see. Nick Anderson's not there anymore to have maybe a game-winning catch at the last second.
Yeah.
Dylan Gabriel slinging the rock. But John Mateer, the group they have going over there, this edition of Red River is going to be as exciting as we've ever seen.
Yeah, you good over there?
Huh? Yeah, I caught it.
You're just panicking.
Yeah, why don't you tell us about how Texas is going to win?
Well, I will. Texas is going to win.
All right.
It's going to be chaos.
All right, good analysis.
It's going to be chaos in Dallas. Oklahoma's going to show up, but Texas had a better team. I think Oklahoma fans know that too. But hey, show up, bring your tickets, wave your pom-poms, and enjoy Texas whipping that ass a little bit.
Ooh. Strong words from a strong man. Even though he was recently very discourteous to me.
You won't pick him against Kentucky, I bet.
Yeah. All right. Next 3 games. I hate to do this. I hate to do this, but we're going to have to do it. The next 3 games in the SEC.
I've
got it, David. I've got to do it. It's Kentucky
is the best
Vandy.
Conference. Can we say the SEC is the best conference if we're just going to clean sweep these next 3 games?
With Ohio State, I don't think we spent a lot of time on Northwestern or something like that.
We only talked about Texas, I think.
That's true. All right, they got Kentucky, Mississippi State, and Vanderbilt. Here, I'm going to tell you right now, I got them winning all 3 of those. So, sorry, not sorry. Like, we can sit here and break it down as much as you want. You know the team's going to give them the best shot on this one? It's probably Kentucky.
In Lexington?
Are you sure about that?
No.
You don't think Iran, a.k.a. Vanderbilt, is going to give them the best
I was being sarcastic, but explain to the people why you're calling Vandy Iran.
Well, I think Vandy is like, I go back to that Shane Gillis bit. I think Vandy were terrorists last year, right? And every 6 months, they'd blow up a car and be like, oh, everybody look. But now everybody knows you're terrorists, and now you're going to get hunted because you pissed everybody off and you blew up a couple cars, right? So that's what I think Vanderbilt was last year. But this year, we know you're coming, right? We put stuff in your pagers, all right? And every Saturday, we're going to blow it up.
You know the craziest part about that is that analogy is actually very spot on.
It makes sense.
It is very spot on. I mean, it really kind of is. Let's be honest. If Vandy was in the geopolitical war space, they ain't China. You know what I'm saying? It's guerrilla warfare for sure. Diego Pavia. Who's going to carry the boat?
They snuck. It's basically Vandy snuck a lot of people last year.
They did.
Right?
Nobody knew they got those weapons sent in.
They're not showing up with warships and tanks and, extremely great military in the sky. No, right? They're just running around.
They played Texas close.
Exactly.
They played Texas close.
It was 3 points.
They put bombs on the roads.
I had a buddy text me the other day, said, hey, Diego Pavia's in here in Kid Rock's new restaurant. Looks like he's having a good time. I said, great, it's August. Why ain't he in fall camp?
Exactly.
Give me Texas.
All right. So
why ain't he in fall camp?
Diego, what are you doing, dude?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So right now, I got him at 7-2 because there's 3 games left. Cone, you have them 8-1. Blaine, you've got them 9-0.
All about confidence, baby.
All right, thank you for that. So I got them at 7-2. There's 3 games left. They get a bye week after they face
a tough one.
After they face the Iranians of Vanderbilt, and you go on the road.
Where are they going? Tell them, son. Tell them.
You're going to Athens, and this shit ain't Greece, buddy. This is going to be a mega matchup. And if it works out the way that I have it working out, I mean, obviously this game's going to be big for Texas regardless, but I already have them with 2 losses. So a loss here would give them 3. Not that Texas couldn't get in with 3 losses. We talked about that with Tim Brando. But I think they go on the road, to a Georgia team that beat them twice last year, embarrassed them at home in Austin, 30-15, physically dominated, beat you up in front of your family, which you'll never recover from until you get to fight them again. And then you see them in the SEC championship game, their quarterback goes down, still can't close the deal. I think it's mental. And going in between the hedges, will they be playing Soldier Boy? I don't know, but I got Georgia. I got Young Gunna, Stockton. Give me the dogs.
Young Gunna.
I'm gonna go with him on this one. You know, you got to host him
Good
last
pick,
year,
David.
couldn't beat him. What was it? At halftime, you getting shut out. You know, 15-0 or
Smushed.
something.
You were
at
getting,
halftime.
it was smushy.
SEC championship neutral site, you couldn't get them. Now you're going in between the hedges. I got Georgia holding servant.
Well, Georgia can physically match up with Texas.
For sure.
Georgia is like Texas is when you're a kid and you flip the lights up before you run up the stairs and you run up as quick as you can because you feel like something's chasing behind them. That's Georgia when it comes to Texas.
Is that them?
The monster under the bed.
Interesting.
Right? It doesn't matter. You're still 14 and you're still walking and looking under your bed, and hell, Kirby Smart's just sitting there waving. He's like
in a clown outfit?
He's like it in the sewer holding a red balloon. That's Kirby
Crain and
Smart.
Co.
versus
memes
Texas
is gonna
right
have a
now.
field
I
day
think
with
Georgia
this
wins this
episode.
game. I think it's close. I think 28, 23, 31, 24. Close, but I think Georgia just
No one has
match up.
Texas going into Athens
No.
and getting a dub.
It's a monster under the bed. Kirby knows how to beat him.
All right. So at this point, whoo, buddy, I've got Texas sitting here at 7-3. Hey, they're going to be so pissed in the comments.
I can hate Archman.
Again, I can just
7-3.
feel
I
it,
said it's 8-4 over there, didn't I?
No, hold
yeah,
on.
it is. Wait till
Hold
they
on.
wait till they host
Cream
A&M.
rises, huh?
We get this Arkansas.
Have them losing to Arkansas.
All right, so the next 2 weeks, they get Arkansas at home, then they get A&M at home. We'll start with Arkansas. I think Sam Pittman, again, what have we said about this year with Sam Pittman and possibly Mark Stoops? You know, in the olden days, like in the tribes, they used to take the old people
Don't do that.
and they would build a raft out of bamboo. And when they got so old, it was time for them to just move on into the great beyond. They're not dead yet, but you just put them on the raft at night.
Coach, I'm
you got
sorry.
the torches,
sorry, Coach.
singing the songs,
I apologize.
drinking the hallucinogenic liquid out of the pot they made out of God knows what. And then they start singing the songs. They just push them
Golly,
off.
dude.
And that's what this one is. Hey, Sam, look, you're on the road. Thanks for the memories. We need some excitement back in the program. Texas beats their ass to death.
Oh,
to death.
God,
Look.
Jake.
To death!
Look, y'all aren't going to have a great football team. That doesn't mean we should drown the guys.
Yeah.
I didn't say drown him. I said put him. No.
gracious.
I said put him on a raft, David.
Golly, there's a part of me that really
I even
wants to
said
pick
what the
Arkansas
raft was
after
I didn't know
that,
this was Shutter Island.
but I'm not going to do it. Texas, too much. Just too much in Austin.
I think this game's going to be pretty close until it starts. I think if there's a definition, if this was definition of Delta acid, it's going to be this game.
What if Taylor Green just freaks out?
Is Taylor
If
Green going to be
Green
alive?
freaks
by the
out,
time-
I
Bobby
still think
Petrino.
Texas wins by 21.
All right.
How's Arkansas going to stop them? Like that's my question. And at this point, your depth is super tested. You're in the second to the last game, and I just don't think Arkansas has the depth.
No.
To be able to make this one even close. And I know how big of a game this is in the Arkansas and Texas circles. All right, so going into the last game, rivalry. Boy, Texas broke A&M's heart last year, didn't they?
Yeah.
Just broke it in two. It could not have set up better for A&M. You get Texas at home, you win it, you go to the SEC championship game, give yourself a chance to make the college football playoff in year one under Mike Elko. So obviously A&M, who I think most of us think has got a pretty damn good roster this year, they're going to be out for blood going to Austin. And there's no better place to go and redeem yourself than on the road. But guys, I got Texas fighting for their playoff life here at 8-3. To get to 9-3, give them a chance with the arch factor to get into the playoff. The committee, we'll see how I have it working out at the end. But I think they beat Texas A&M again because they have to have it. And to be honest with you, David, I would not be shocked if on November 28th, when we get to this game, the playoff life of A&M and Texas are both on the line. Because Texas's playoff life, I don't think, was on the line last year in this game. But I think Texas wins it, makes it 2 in a row against Mike Elko, and gives himself a fighting chance to make the college football playoff. And they go 9-3. I know it's not what you want. But if I want to make everybody happy, I'd sell ice cream for a living, or what they're throwing at WNBA games for a living.
Someone would still complain at an ice cream shop.
They would,
You
wouldn't
know,
they?
they'd find something to complain
There's
about.
Karens all around.
But and not just playoffs last year. Remember, Texas A&M and Texas were matching up for a chance for A&M to go to the SEC championship game still. Texas just ripped their heart out. I hope this Texas A&M rivalry restores to just some old school vitriol every year, just going back and forth at each other. And for that to happen, A&M's going to have to beat them. I don't have that happening this year. I've got Texas beating A&M in Austin. So for me right now, it's 10-2.
All right. So that means then they're in the playoff then, 10-2 for sure.
Well, look, don't get ahead of yourself.
Well, if they're not in the playoff, if they're not, Texas will secede from the union if they do.
And not only that, but just remember, one of my losses is out of conference to the Buckeyes.
That's true. So you're probably
still in the SEC
I mean, there's always like guarantees in life, right?
Like you made it.
Like Georgia's going to have a great roster. It's a guarantee. Alabama fans will only be satisfied with the national championship.
I know
that's a guarantee. Texas A&M never winning the game that matters. That's a guarantee. And that's going to be the same thing in this one. Give me Texas. Texas A&M, the king of not being clutch. Probably another 8-4.
Wait, so what's that for you? That's
11-1.
That's 11-1.
11-1, Dave. Yes, sir.
So that's 11-1. We're talking about not only college football playoff with a great seed, probably SEC championship game, and then possibly number 1 overall seed. Which, I mean, their preseason ranked number 1. I mean, you're following
this isn't a crazy take.
No, that just shows you what Texas is. So we want to know in the comments, what do you have Texas regular season going? Do you have Arch winning the Heisman? Do you have them winning the national championship or the SEC? Let us know. And whether you're happy or whether you're sad or whether you're glad or whether you're mad, it doesn't matter. We're just going to tell you what we think. And that's why you watch the show. And that's why you may love us or hate us. But hey, what did Pete Weber say? At least you watched, At least you watched. And that's what he did for bowling. That's what we're trying to do for college football. So let us know. Again, we appreciate you guys being here. Y'all are the best. And like the chances of me not just salivating over week 0, which
9-3, huh?
Being here. 9-3. 9-3. Not out of it. 9-3. We're going. I'm getting really good at this. God.